What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. Whole bunch of really cool stuff to talk about today because it actually kind of involves business, and that's kind of exciting to me. Of course, if you have not already entered, check the 3DS XL link in the description for the Metroid version. You can enter to win when we hit 6,000 subscribers. We will be giving that away, but right now there's some fun stuff to talk about, so let's get started. Now, if you missed it, Nintendo stock has jumped heavily. We're talking 6% here, which doesn't sound like a lot. It's a pretty good bit. In fact, this is the highest Nintendo stock has been since the Wii days. That's right, since 8 years ago. That was when they were in full force here with the Wii. It was selling like crazy. The second year they sold, I think, 24 million Wiis, like a lot. They were firing on all cylinders at that time, and it looks like right now the stock is as high as it's ever been. And a lot of people were trying to figure out why. Well, there's some pretty interesting reasons as to what's going on here. Mostly predictions that are kind of being made by analysts out there, but it's interesting to see where Nintendo may be taking the Switch here, because honestly, they might be taking into very successful territories here. So the first thing that happened was a place called Credit Suisse that deals with a lot of investments, make a lot of predictions for the stock market, and for the most part, affect that stock market with investors, because it tells them, what looks good, what you can expect from this company over here. And they actually took their original 70 million prediction. So they had predicted that the Switch would move about 70 million units from Nintendo by 2022. They have now upgraded that, and I'm not even kidding here, to 130 million Switches. That sounds absolutely insane, right? That sounds like DS territory. Keep in mind, by 2022, they are saying that this system would have sold more than twice as many 3DSs as on the market right now. That's in 5 years. I assume they mean by the end of 2022, so maybe closer to 5.5 years. But still, that is absolutely outrageous, right? Well, there are some interesting things going on right now. Something kind of happened last week that I think a lot of people may have glossed over, myself included. I saw the announcement and I said, that's interesting. And then now, after today, seeing all this stuff happening with the stock, I realized what's happening. Nintendo may be trying to get into a massive gaming territory that they have not really been in recently, and that's China. So Nintendo made a deal, a partnership, if you will, with a company called Tencent, who is a mega corporation in China. And the idea here is to bring one of their very popular MOBA games over in China to the Nintendo Switch. It's happening. They are bringing this game over. In the West, it's known as Arena of Valor. Over in China, it's known as Honor of Kings. And this may have passed by really under a lot of people's radars because it's not a big Nintendo game, right? But in China, this game is huge. And now analysts are completely expecting Nintendo to make their way into China. And if you don't know, China is by far right now gaming's largest market. Yeah, last year, $25.6 billion. That's right, $25.6 billion in PC alone. Now, very small amount of home consoles are there. I think it was 500,000 for the PS4 and the Xbox One. Of course, the Xbox One launched there kind of recently, but they don't really pick up on the home consoles, but they love mobile. In fact, last year, $15.6 billion was accrued just in mobile. So now we have a system that could possibly enter China that looks kind of like a mobile device, right? I'm not saying it's exactly a mobile device, but it has that look, it has that feel, and of course, well, it's portable. You can take it with you. It doesn't have to stay tethered to your TV. And China obviously has a very large population, and there are a lot of potential customers there that Nintendo could tap into, and that is why right now they have, of course, upped their prediction from 70 million to 130 million, because yes, China is that big of a market, and if Nintendo can do this right, if they can really get into China with this system and really make some noise there, yeah, you're going to see a crazy amount of Switches move off shelves if they can provide them. And that is, of course, if Nintendo does decide to go into China. But all signs right now, this partnership with Tencent, it appears that they want to get into China, and I don't blame them, because if they do, look out. Like, you think the PS4 is selling a lot right now? That the Switch in China is going to sell gangbusters. It is going to be absolutely insane. So keep an eye on this, because as soon as Nintendo announces that they are sending stock and they are going to have a big, launch day in China, look for those numbers, because it's going to get outrageous. Next up, let's talk about Doom on the Nintendo Switch. There is a rumored release date going around by a European retailer by the name of Kuma.cz is I guess the URL to them. Well, it looks like they decided to put out a date for the Doom version of Nintendo Switch. And while I saw the date. It doesn't make any sense to me because it's a Wednesday, first of all, but it kind of falls into where I was expecting it to be, somewhere mid-December like most of us thought. They are saying a date of December 13th. I have it kind of figured somewhere in there, either December 12th, that Tuesday, or December 15th, that Friday. That makes the most sense. In fact, if I had to take a guess, it would be December 15th, that Friday. Give everyone roughly 8-9 days to get all that stuff purchased for Christmas ahead of time. But it's weird right now. Nintendo has a lot of releases jam-packed over the next few months, and Doom really has to find a time to not disrupt any of Nintendo's first-party titles, because there are quite a few packed in right now. And of course, Doom also doesn't want to run over Skyrim, because that's the same company. So yes, mid-December, give Xenoblade some breathing room there, give it a week or so extra to sell through. And then of course, here comes Doom. Not the same audience, but still, you don't want to give people, you don't want to have to let them choose. You want to give them at least a payday, every 2 weeks. You give them a payday to then spend more money on your games. So here's some interesting news. Looks like Halo is going to the Nintendo Switch. Well, it's kind of going to the Nintendo Switch. So of course, if you've played Minecraft on the Xbox 360 or the Xbox One, they have Halo skins, right? You can kind of use decorative items for your characters, and it looks like Halo, Master Chief, etc. Well, they are applying that to all versions of Minecraft with the Better Together update, and that includes Nintendo Switch. They also told us that Nintendo Switch version is coming at the end of the year, whereas the Xbox One and Windows 10 versions may already be out by the time you see this video or the following day. They kind of said over the next day or so, you'll see it appear on the Windows and Xbox platforms. But this is kind of interesting, isn't it? I mean, Halo properties, despite it just being skins, is really odd to see show up on a Nintendo platform because it's not Microsoft. Like, I don't think Mario would ever show up on the Xbox's Minecraft. It's very odd. It almost seems like Microsoft is doing everything they can right now to either appear on other systems, because of course you might have people on the Nintendo Switch see Halo, right, and be like, oh, maybe I'll go try Halo. I've never tried it before. Just because there's a skin on their Nintendo Switch. Of course, this could also just be Microsoft playing nice. And I guess it's very weird. It's so weird right now. This is not like how I remember the old days where it was more like, cutthroat type of marketing and really just both companies going against each other like crazy, like back in the 16-bit era. Even the 32 and 64-bit area, it was pretty much like that. It's very interesting to see what's happening with gaming now, and it almost seems like Sony is still the only company that doesn't want to play nice. Maybe next generation, if they fall behind, maybe their tune will change. Oh, and a big congratulations to Phil Spencer. Now, I am hard on the Xbox brand, but one of the big figureheads that I actually really like is Phil Spencer. I think he is a genuine gamer, somebody who really gets gaming, and I think he's obviously working with some backstage politics at Microsoft, but it looks like he got a pretty good promotion, and this could spell great things for the gaming division in Microsoft and for the Xbox. So Phil Spencer's, of course, right now Vice President of Gaming for Microsoft, and he is now being promoted as the 16th member, who is also including Satya Nadella, Terry Myerson, and Harry Shum. He's being really, at this point, promoted as the 16th member of the Microsoft Senior Leadership Team. And that is very important because a lot of people have obviously speculated, I wonder if Microsoft's going to get rid of the Xbox brand at some point. Well, they just promoted the vice president of gaming at Microsoft to kind of their inner circle, I guess you'd say, people who make a lot of the big decisions. He's at that table now. So I don't think they're getting rid of the gaming division soon. In fact, Phil Spencer being there might really help the gaming division, maybe help to tie up some funds for them, maybe pull some money or some spotlight to the gaming division. Very cool to see. I think he does deserve it. He works hard from what I can tell. And of course, he is definitely a gamer at heart. There have been pictures of him playing, he even talked about it, loves Zelda, takes the Switch with him. He says whenever he goes on planes or any kind of basically Ubers or anything when he's moving around, he has the Switch with him. And he even talks about sending some different developers Xboxes for Christmas and even playing PlayStation. He has all the systems and he likes gaming in general. He even makes fun of fanboys on Twitter. So you know what? How can I not like him? And in our last bit of news, Sega seems to be doing a lot to make Sonic Forces as good as it can possibly be, even giving us, from what we're seeing, free day one DLC that centers around Shadow. What's cool here, it's going to be free day one DLC, and if you're a fan of Shadow, it's going to focus on the backstory between really him and a mysterious antagonist of Sonic Forces. Infinite, the one that we kind of made fun of because he looked like a psychic version of Sonic. But still, free day one DLC. It's Shadow. Why not, right? It's just an extra thing to have when it comes out. Seems like something they were working on, I guess, while this was in development. They couldn't put it on the cart, the disc, or the original download. So, hey, here's free DLC. You can't really be mad at that, even if you're not really on board with Sonic Forces. I like the idea of free day one DLC. It's just something extra to have. And that's it for Newswave today, guys. Make sure you comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Let me think about any of the stuff we talked about today, whether it is the Switch possibly entering the Chinese market. Do you think that really can give them an extra 60, that's right guys, they jumped at 60 million Switches from the original estimate. Do you think that's possible? I look at the Chinese market. It is a massive, massive gaming and mobile market. Not as much home console, but honestly, the Switch is pretty much a device that could probably thrive there because it gives them the ability to play their console games at home, but they can also just play it as a handheld if they want. I mean, that's even a market where Nintendo could possibly sell the Switch without a dock because they probably don't want the dock, and maybe even make it cheaper and then sell more Switches. It's very, very interesting to see. And of course, picking up that the Chinese MOBA from Tencent is only going to help them. Let me know what you guys think, because that seems to be the biggest story right now, is possibly the Switch's success going forward. That's it for now, guys. I'll see you next time.